A man is sitting hunched over in the muddy gutter. Filthy, miserable, but not without hope. Out of nowhere, a shadowy figure appears, whispering, "This is not your destiny. Follow me." The man follows the figure out of the darkened streets, emptied of commotion, and into a gloomy, dim forest. The man cautiously studies the strange figure moving in front of him. It almost appears as if the figure is floating as it moves further into the forest, not looking back once, nor uttering a sound. The only thing the man can hear is the calm wind breezing through the thick forest. They arrive at a small cottage, enough to house a family of one. The figure stops, lamenting a single sentence. "There is only one way forward, through the right door." And just like that, he disappears through the entrance, with the door left open. The man stops, considering cautiously what the figure had just told him, while walking towards the door with determination. As the man walks through the entrance of the cottage, he is stunned. As he looks around in shock, he quickly grasps that the room he is beholding is bigger than the cottage itself. A haunting feeling sets in as he inspects the room, and suddenly feels his whole body shiver. There are puppets hiding in the room, in every corner. But not only that, he sees 3 new doors. In a second of doubt, he reminisces on how society had cast him out, and how hopeless it would be to turn around. He recollects what the figure had said. There is only one way forward, through the right door. He ponders his decision for a minute, but he chooses the middle doorway. When passing through it, an even bigger room appears with 5 doors and even more puppets. The puppets have started to become more and more human-like, as if they are slowly turning into living beings. He determinedly runs straight for the door to the far left. The room keeps getting filled with more puppets, looking more human-like for each door the man chooses. He can now sense the panic starting to creep up on him. While entering the 14th room, the man stops in his tracks. The puppets from the previous rooms had looked like miniatures of live human beings, but this one puppet he could recognize. It was not just another strange puppet. It was his neighbor from his younger days, a girl named Gilly. Not only that, but he could see a tear running down her face. He instantly remembered something Gilly had said.
How can a soften sneaks in through a door he didn't know you left open?
The man, for the first time walking into the cottage, turns his head looking back. He realizes that all the doors he had chosen up until now are still open. To this point, he had never considered the doors behind him when entering a new room and making his decisions. He starts hesitating, turning towards the door he just came from. While turning, he makes out a silhouette emanating behind him. It's the shadowy figure walking toward him, his eyes wide open, filled with disappointment and rage. The man starts running through every door he had passed to this point. Every time he glances back, the silhouette of the illusion is getting closer and closer. The protagonist recognizes the first room of the cottage and frantically rushes through the exit of the cottage, with the breath of the illusion in the back of his neck. As soon as he exits, the door slams shut behind him. The man, breathing wearily, can barely believe that he's still alive, but thinks back to the vision of Gilly and the tear in her stitched face. How can a puppet shed a tear? How come the further he had travelled through the cottage, the puppets had turned more and more into live puppets? Perhaps he was not the first unfortunate soul that had followed the shadowy figure and entered the cottage. Maybe this was the mournful fate of many low-life citizens of the den that had been cast out due to the unfortunate way of life and the judging gaze of the social order they were born in. Something had manifested in the man. This was nothing man-made. This was something far more devious. Some wretched being had infested itself near the den, and was feeding on the city and its citizens. The puppeteer walked towards the city of the den, the city of puppets.